Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Damsels in Debate podcast. I'm your host, Tina.
And I'm your co-host, Vanessa.
Yay,
the irreplaceable co-host.
Vanessa is back this week, everybody. Yay.
Please let me express my most sincere apologies for not being here last week. It was my sister's birthday, and I wasn't about to cancel her. Like, sorry.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, it all worked out okay, though, but I'm glad to have you back.
And thank you to Maria. That podcast was really good. I listened to it. I was like, man, you guys got that, relationship going on. I mean, you are sisters, but it was a really good podcast.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. Because this movie that we saw recently was like my most anticipated movie of the summer, we're going to skip our cues and all that stuff. We'll get to it later, but we're going to just dive headfirst into Pacific Rim because there's so much to talk about. And obviously, we're going to say right off the bat here, there's going to be a bunch of spoilers because we're going to discuss a whole bunch of different stuff from the movie. So fair warning right now, spoilers for Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. And go. All right, so Pacific Rim came out this weekend, I guess you could say. I've seen it twice so far. I actually won tickets to a screening on Monday, and then we all went on Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday.
Thursday night, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, where to start? All right, since we all know I'm like a major nerd for this movie, and so I'm going to be a little biased with certain things, let me ask you, what were you thinking, like what were your feelings toward this movie, before you saw it, just going off the commercials and stuff, and then after you saw the movie?
Well, going into it, I had the same feelings as like my sister has, because I asked my sister to come see it, and she's like, no, it looks like Transformers, and so I was thinking like, it's going to be Transformers movie, it's going to just be like, wah, because that's not my favorite genre, but I do like sci-fi, so I was going to give it a chance, because like, okay, it has some sci-fi, it's in the future, so going into it, I expected it to be entertaining, but not like some great movie, like I didn't expect it to be like Star Trek Into Darkness.
Right. Me. I mean, you only really went because I was like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, and I trust your movie opinion implicitly, so I was like, okay, this definitely going to be good then if Tina says it's good. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, but I was hesitant to see it, but definitely exceeded my expectations.
Oh, good. I'm glad. And we saw it in IMAX 3D.
Yes, IMAX 3D, which was amazing.
One of the very few times that I've actually put down money to go see something in IMAX and in 3D because the prices are just ridiculous.
Yes.
And when I saw it on Monday, it was in just regular 3D.
Did that make a big difference to you with the IMAX versus the regular 3D?
I did really like it in IMAX. Like everybody I'm telling to go see it, which is everybody I meet, I say go ahead and splurge and see it in IMAX just because the scale of the movie is so gigantic. So to see it in IMAX is really, really fun. The 3D looked cool, I thought, but again, it didn't make the movie. Like I didn't. I mean, I noticed it, but not a whole lot. So I mean, you know what? Go ahead. If you have the extra $3 or $4 it costs, go ahead. You're not going to be disappointed. Well, if you see it in IMAX 3D,
right? That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, out of the two, I'd say go see it in IMAX. But it doesn't hurt the movie at all in 3D. I don't think. Yeah, I really liked it. Did you find the movie lagging at all?
Like in terms of being slow in certain scenes?
Yeah.
At one point I was thinking like, man, this movie is a little long because there's a couple parts, but it's still like it all came back together and made sense, but it did seem a little long at one point. I can't remember which part. It was like near probably 2/3 in. I was like, okay, like is this finally going to go? They're going to finish killing off the creatures? What are they going to do? So come on, let's get going here.
Yeah, there was a couple of slow parts. But at the same time, I didn't really mind them after I saw the whole movie because it explained, it gave you some backstory for these characters and stuff. And the movie was just over 2 hours, so there weren't any parts where I'm like, oh, they should have cut that out,
Yeah.
So I think the runtime was pretty good in the movie. Mm-hmm. What did they nail in this movie? What did they do really well?
Oh, definitely the special effects with the creatures. I actually, it's been a long time, probably since Jurassic Park, that I've been actually a little scared in the theater. And I was actually scared of some of these creatures. And they popped out, like at one point the... what are they called? The Jaegers. There we go. They were walking around the city, like, where did it go? Where did it go? And then it like popped out through a building and stuff. And I was like, no, actually jumping in the theater. So the effects of these creatures, like, it definitely, like, it wasn't like Godzilla or anything like that. That was another like thing that I was worried about because Rob said, he didn't want to see it because he's like, I grew up with Godzilla cartoons and stuff. Like,
right.
I don't care to see Transformers versus Godzilla. You know?
Yeah.
And it was not that at all. So they definitely nailed the special effects. And it wasn't like annoying, like with we were talking about with World War Z, how it was shaky and all this stuff. Everything flowed so smoothly.
It was nice and polished.
Oh yeah. So I definitely like was sitting there just wow,
right,
the whole time.
I was really afraid of that, especially seeing it in 3D, and then also because a lot of the majority of the fight scenes took place at night or in the rain, and I'm like, oh, that's to hide bad CGI probably. So I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to see anything or to focus in on stuff, and no, that wasn't a problem for me.
Nothing really looked fake to me. Sometimes you can tell, like, oh, that looked fake.
Yeah.
It did not look fake at all.
Yeah, it looked really seamless, I thought.
And one thing that I noticed is that they really pinpointed the noise, like in terms of like bodies colliding and
sound design.
The sound was awesome in that. It was very believable.
Yeah,
especially the IMAX too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I know I'm not really like a sound person, like music, yes, but sound design I don't have an ear for it, you know, so I don't pick up on stuff really. But I noticed that too, where it sounded really great. Yeah.
It sounded real.
yeah, there was a lot of feeling in there. Well, since we're talking about sound, what did you think of the soundtrack of the movie?
It really is kind of like the Star Trek. Like I keep bringing up Star Trek. That's still my number one favorite. This is my number 2 now. But no, it was great theme music and great just music throughout it. I can't think of it now how the theme went, but it definitely like it wasn't one of those movies you're like, God, this music sucks.
Yeah, or it's real generic or something. Yeah.
No, it definitely. I remember it having some good action music with the
yeah. I finally used my iTunes gift card that I've had for like 2 years, and I went ahead and bought the album. So I was listening to that all day at work. And it's really, I really, really like the music in this movie. So I looked up the guy who was responsible for the soundtrack. His name is Ramin Javadi, and I was trying to find out what other movies he's done, and he did Iron Man and Clash of the Titans, which I don't really remember the music from either of those movies. It didn't leave any kind of impression on me. But then I read that he did the music, or he does the music for Game of Thrones, which once you finally start watching that, the opening theme that they use in the beginning of every episode, it's really, really cool. It fits the show, and you know, it's. I don't want to just play it for you. You just have to watch it. Like when you watch it, you'll hear it, and it's really cool. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, that one I can get behind.
Yes, everybody. I have not seen Game of Thrones, but I'm poor, so I didn't have HBO. But Tina has it, so I'm gonna. Actually, you said your mom has season 1, so I'm going to borrow that and start watching it. So don't worry,
she'll catch up.
I will catch up.
I mean, I think the next season starts in April of next year, so I think you'll be able to do it. Yeah, and you'll get into it. Yeah. But yes, he did the theme music for that. And I mean, he's done music in the show, but that's like the theme that everybody knows. So yeah, he's one to check out. Because yeah, I love that soundtrack. It was really, really awesome.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and I know I kept turning and whispering it in your ear anyway, but did you catch references to other movies as much as I did? I know that's just something I do.
Not like, not with like direct references, like, oh, the way he said that, like that kind of thing, but more of just like ideas, I guess you could say, because there's a lot of stuff, and especially, I mean, most stuff nowadays, it's pretty easy just because everything's been done, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying, oh, it took this from this monster movie, but I don't know. But as far as more specific things like what you're talking about, no, I don't really pick up on those that much.
Well, let me just mention, that's just something I do. And I that's why I like watching movies with Tina, though, because I'll turn and whisper in her ear and she'll start laughing because she'll see it. I mean, she won't see it by herself, but once I mention it, she's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But the main thing was, and it's probably because of my love for Tom Hiddleston, but the
Here we go.
The monsters coming out of, the idea of the monsters coming out of a portal from another dimension and like attacking everybody. That totally reminded me of Avengers. That they had the thing that opened the portal. Yeah. And even the monsters somewhat reminded me of the monsters from Avengers, but I think these ones were better actually than the ones in Avengers.
It was kind of like a rocky face, like so yeah, I could see where they look
same idea,
similar.
like a sliver, like a portal into another dimension. That's basically what it was. So it was a similar idea. Not that they took it, but I was like, oh, that reminds me of that.
Oh, right.
the whole running the robot, like with your minds and the two minds and everything, that kind of reminded me of Avatar, how they use their minds. But with Avatar, they were just laying there, whereas in this movie, they were inside the robot, so they made it their own in that sense. But it did remind me of Avatar, but in a good way. You know, it wasn't like a bad thing.
Yeah.
The main thing I want to bring up, though, is your favorite actor. I can't remember his name.
In the movie?
The Luther guy.
His name was Stacker Pentecost in the movie. But yeah, okay, yeah. What about him?
He does that whole sequence where he's trying to get everyone like riled up to like, we're gonna do our final fight. Yeah, the big.
We are canceling the apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. That like I turned to Tina and I like whispered. I was like, "Today we celebrate our Independence Day." So it's exactly the same ring that it had for me. I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you gotta rally up everybody.
But I definitely loved how this movie really got me into like yeah, beat his ass.
Right. And
kill him.
There's such I love the whole international cast. You know, you got these people from or the characters from Australia and then the Chinese and the Russians and the Americans, and everybody's all working together. I mean, that's, you know, naive little me. Oh, world peace, everybody's working together, get the job done.
They mentioned that at the beginning. Remember how it said we dropped we forgot all of our differences and worked together for the better of the earth. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, me too. It's like, oh, good.
And then the last thing it reminded me of was the memory sequence that they, because that one doctor actually links minds with the brain of one of
drift or whatever.
Yeah, the drift, that's what it's called. And they showed like the sequence that he was seeing, and they had like, I guess it was the portal, the opening to the portal. And it was getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, that looks just like the Eye of Sauron.
And
it was really, I was like, oh, that's a little scary. You know, it's like, I see you.
Yeah, exactly. It's real.
Oh man. But speaking of the memory sequence, like that was really cool to me. Like the idea of them linking minds and seeing each other's memories, and especially the whole scene with like she's chasing the white rabbit.
Oh,
like that was a great scene. And it scared me too. The little girl and like
that little girl was a really good actress.
Yeah, she was. I was thinking about that.
She really looked scared and stuff. I thought she did really well. That's one of the things I wanted to bring up. Actually, I thought she really conveyed the sense of, you know, alone and scared.
Terror.
And exactly. One thing that was a little off for me, like, I was trying to figure out age-wise, like how old her character, what's her name, Mako, how old she is, and then how old Idris Elba's character is. Because, like, he looks exactly the same age. She's obviously at least 10 years older.
I'm like, well, I guess he just doesn't age.
Yeah, he doesn't age. He's I guess that's it, yeah, because she looked really young in those scenes. Again, that's not like really that big a deal, but it was just one thing that I thought of. I'm like, wait, how old is she?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. She was probably around like 6, I think, and then she was in maybe her early 20s because she looked pretty young.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked exactly the same. We took off his helmet and like, oh, it's the same.
Got the same haircut and the same facial hair.
There's all these special effects for these monsters. You couldn't like take out a couple, like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, you know,
it didn't bother me though.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. I was more impressed with her acting than I was with the whole age thing for that whole part. I really like the monsters, the kaiju in there. I had a little bit more of a tough time, like with the Jaegers. I knew their names. I knew who was, you know, commanding which one and stuff. But because I was going to say, what was your favorite Jaeger and what was your favorite kaiju? But the kaiju ones, I don't really remember. Like, I like the one that had like the big knife on his head that like stabbed through the one Jaeger, you know, when they were out in the ocean. I thought that looked really awesome.
I like the one that totally surprised us and flew away, like picked up and started flying.
Man,
I was like, no.
I'm gonna get into that scene in a minute. Yeah. Ooh, boy, that was awesome. I made a list of the movies that the guy who wrote and directed this, Guillermo del Toro. Sorry, I'm messing up everybody's name. He wrote and directed Hellboy 1 and 2 and Blade 2 and Mimic. And I really like all those movies. I mean, there's stuff that's kind of wrong with them or, you know, doesn't make them perfect movies, but I really like all those movies. So that was another thing that I had sitting in my head. I'm like, oh, he wrote and directed this. So I was really set the bar higher.
And then when Tina yelled at me because I told her I haven't seen Hellboy, like, put that on your movie queue. So.
Yeah, I like it's they're definitely not perfect movies, but it's just they're fun, and there's all these colorful characters and the special effects, and Ron Perlman playing Hellboy he's awesome. Like he's great in those movies. He's perfect for the role. Speaking of Ron Perlman, yeah, definitely. I think all the actors did a good job in the movie. I think the standout was probably Idris Elba as was he? He was a marshal or a general or something. Yeah. Anyway, you know who he is.
Leader,
yeah, the main guy. I think everybody did a pretty good job. I think he was the standout. And now everybody knows I really like Charlie Hunnam too. He's quite attractive, and I think Raleigh was his name in this movie, and his character, I don't think it's his acting, because he is fantastic as Jax on Sons of Anarchy. So it's not his acting. I think it was more just the character was I found him a little dull. Like he played the role well, and he had these emotions and stuff, but the character himself, I wasn't as invested in him as I thought I could have been. So he wasn't terrible, but it just I found myself like, oh yeah, okay, this is the main character, but I'm caring more about some of the side characters.
Do you want more emotion or something from him?
No, it's just, I don't know, it's hard to say. And the girl Mako, she was cool, but same kind of thing actually. I was just kind of those are the two leads of the movie, but I felt more invested in pretty much everybody else in the movie. And now that girl, I don't remember her real name, the actress. I haven't seen her in anything.
Yeah, neither have I. I didn't recognize her.
Yeah, I can't really vouch for her, but for Charlie Hunnam on Sons of Anarchy, he's great as Jax, and it's a totally different character and stuff. So he can act well. So I don't know.
Speaking of totally different characters, the other guy who plays, the very first thing I've seen him in was True Blood as Warlow.
Oh, yeah.
And in True Blood, he has this, the Southern accent and the character. I mean, he plays a jerk in both of them, basically.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he has this what is he, Australian?
Yeah, really over the top Australian accent.
And I turned to Tina, I was like, this is freaking me out, man. I'm so used to seeing him in True Blood.
Yeah.
So, but he played a good jerk.
Yeah, he did. Is he the new It actor? Is he going to show up in everything now or something?
He's still not impressing me that much. I'm like, eh.
I think he's attractive, and he can play a jerk pretty well. So, and we'll see what he does as Warlow. So the jury's still out on that one.
Yeah.
But he was very convincing as the jerk in this movie. So
talk about that reminds me, because remember when they first they kind of met and met eyes across the way, and I was like, I turned to you, I was like, I can just feel the testosterone levels rising.
Yeah.
I knew they were gonna end up fighting at one point.
Definitely. What did you think of the two scientists that were kind of the more comedic guys of the movie?
Oh, I love them.
You did?
Them two together. Yeah. The one guy, I thought I'd recognize his voice, but I looked up his the one doctor that merges his brain with the
Charlie Day.
The brain. Yeah. He his voice sounded so familiar, but I haven't seen anything that I saw him list on. You said he was on that TV show.
Yeah, it's a hilarious TV show. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah. He's really funny in there. So I was interested to see him in something where, his role was funny, but it wasn't like a straight comedy movie. So, I was wondering how he was going to do in that.
Know what I did read? Because I was reading, trying to get all the actors' names right and everything, and this is from Wikipedia. So they actually, they actually got it down, whoever wrote the article on Wikipedia, but they put down these two scientists are such opposites, and they reflect the idea that you have the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere working together inside the monster. I was like, I like that.
Yeah,
it kind of reflects that a little bit.
Yeah, saying that and having seen the movie, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that.
So I was like, oh.
The other guy who I had to look up his name because I didn't know his name, Bern Gorman. I've only seen him in The Dark Knight Rises, and in that, I don't know if you remember his character, but he was that one guy's henchman, and he was real weird and quiet, and I was like, oh, he's so creepy. And then in this movie, he's more, he's still kind of a little weird, but he's more funny and stuff. So that was just a nice little switch to see him play somebody else. Yeah, when they first came on, I was like, oh, they might be too comedic, or they might just be annoying. But I think they were good. I like them both together.
They definitely had, the comedy vibe going down just because they were arguing with each other and everything. I told you not to call me Herman.
Right, yeah.
But, no, actually, I thought the main comedy came from Ron Perlman's character.
Oh yeah,
with his interaction, just like being the badass and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he he had those shoes with the gold plates and stuff. And
everybody, make sure you stay after the initial credits. There's a little thing from Ron Perlman.
Right, yeah. That was a cute little throw-in scene, I thought.
One thing I will mention that it's a different actor, so I'm like, okay. But his character in this movie reminded me of the guy who played Boris the Animal, Jermaine Clement, played Boris the Animal in Men in Black 3.
Yeah,
It just reminded me of him. I don't know if it's their facial structure.
They both have like real big heads.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
So yeah, I could see that.
So I was like, is that the same guy? And Tina's like, well, I know what you're talking about, but no.
No, that's not him.
It's not him.
You know, it's funny. Ron Perlman is kind of like in like, I guess, like Del Toro's little entourage or whatever, because he's in Hellboy. You know, he's the lead in Hellboy. Both of those, and he's also in Blade 2. He's one of the vampires in there. So, and now he's in this movie too.
So he's kind of like Quentin Tarantino. He has his own group of actors.
Yeah, exactly. They ended this movie. It was I'd say it's a pretty final ending. There wasn't like some, quick cut at the end to a breach being made again or anything like that. So they didn't leave it very open for a sequel. Mm-hmm. But you know how they are with making movies nowadays and stuff. Everything is always sequels or prequels or reboots and all that crap. Now, do you think would you be interested in them making a sequel, or do you think this should just stay as a standalone movie?
I would see a sequel, I'd be interested, but I'd just be worried that it wouldn't be as good as the first one. It would just fall flat, and I don't know. I think I'd like it just as a standalone movie.
Yeah. I think they try that with too many things now. Like it's a great standalone movie. The only thing that I think would maybe be cool, but even then I'm not sure how well it would work because this one already came out, but doing like a prequel.
Yeah.
Because you have all those Jaegers and then the initial attacks and all that stuff. So that's maybe could be something cool.
Because they just did that summary at the beginning of this war, and then the first one showed up, and then we realized we needed to fight back. That would be cool to have a prequel.
Yeah, you could make a whole movie out of that whole intro scene. I don't know though. But as it is, if it just stays I don't want them to make a sequel. I think they should, if they're not going to do a prequel, then leave it alone. Just make it a standalone, because it was fine as it is.
Yeah, more than fine.
Yes, more than fine. The fight scenes, did you think that there were just enough, or were you wanting some more fight scenes?
No, I think there's just enough.
Yeah, because at first I was thinking, I'm like, oh man, I wish there was more fight scenes, damn it. But then I thought about it, and I was like, remember like when I went to see Man of Steel or some of the Transformers movies where they look cool, but they kind of get redundant or repetitive, because you're just watching, oh, well, he's punching him again, and oh, another skyscraper fell, like that kind of thing. So even though there weren't, initially I thought there weren't enough, but now, after seeing it twice and thinking about it more, I think it was good the way it was, because you don't want them to get repetitive, and I think that does happen a lot with movies now, and I guess that's just because of special effects, and, they want to show off their hard work and stuff, but... So, yeah, that was what I thought about the fighting.
Yeah, I think it equaled out because they did it in threes, basically. They had the fight at the beginning where the brother got killed, and then they had the fight where they came in and saved and killed the two, and then they had the final fight at the end. So, everything kind of... I remember learning that in college. How, do it in threes. It just... It goes smoothly that way.
Yeah, I agree. And the fight in the middle... That was my favorite fight, but that one, because you had the whole thing out in the ocean, and then it moved into the city also. So, yeah, man, oh my God, that fight scene was so awesome, wasn't it?
It reminded me of Aliens, too, with the, it squirted out that acid.
Yeah. Awesome. I feel really bad for the Russians. I don't know. Now, maybe you caught this, and maybe, I didn't. Were they a couple, like a romantic couple, or were they siblings?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. That. They didn't. They just said, this is the Russian team, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go on IMDb and find that out. But I felt really bad for them because they started to, they were drowning, and then the thing crushed them, so they exploded underwater.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt really bad for them.
Tough luck, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the Chinese guys in the, what was it, Crimson Typhoon, the red one, I think they just crushed the thing, so they exploded. So, I mean, not that that's not hurtful. But I think the Russians one were a little bit more drawn out. So I felt really bad for them.
I remember talking with our group that we went with afterwards, how they were laughing about the flare gun or something that the dad and the son went up there.
Yeah,
and she's like, take that.
I didn't mind that only because their eyes are so small, and I mean eyes just in general are vulnerable. So I didn't mind that because that seems like something that they would miss, because how are these little humans ever going to get close enough to get near their eyes, So that was okay.
I just thought it was funny, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Like, well, you know what? What did the dad say? He's like, we could either just sit here or we could do something really stupid.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was bad when that thing sent out that wave and knocked
ultrasonic wave or something.
Yeah, and they're just sitting there in the dark and can't do anything.
And then the robot's just standing there and you can't move. It's like you're paralyzed. Like, oh, no.
Could you imagine? Yeah, I'd be peeing my pants. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I wasn't expecting that. And I kind of, and this again, it's good because it leaves you wanting more. I wanted to see more of the Russian one and the Chinese one fighting. It's like, that they're all badass and stuff because they're, there was only 4 Jaegers left. Yeah. So they obviously had to be really good. But you didn't I just wanted to see them fight a little bit more. So
they got taken down a little quickly, I think.
They did, but then like I said, that they've gone through all these other battles, and that these what was it, 2 they came out were category 4s, I think they said. So they were really big deal ones. But yeah, I kind of wanted to see them fight a little bit more. I felt like they got taken down quickly, but then at the same time I'm like, well, that's okay. Let's just keep going with the rest of the movie.
Was it the Russians one that had the 4 arms? The robot? That's cool.
The Chinese one had 3 arms because it was the triplets. Yeah, that was awesome. Wow. And I like how they all look different too. The Russian one, they said that was one of the oldest Jaegers out there, but it looked like a big it looked like the Iron Giant almost. It was real, and then it just pounded everything with its fists and stuff. So I like the design. How it looked different each Jaeger looked all different. And then the newest, what was it, the Striker, the one with Warlow in it and his father. That one was very sleek looking and stuff like that. So yeah, I liked how they differentiated between them all because they're from all these different areas. Yeah.
The only thing that really bothered me was that it took place in 2020, which is just 7 years from now. And I don't think we could ever get that far advanced with our technology. I mean, granted, I'm not working in a place where there's technology, but it seems a little implausible that they would be able to build all these things.
Right.
If it took place a little bit further down, then maybe more believable, but...
Now, again, I don't totally remember, but now 2020, is that when the first attacks happened? Or
2020 is when they first started building the Jaegers.
Oh, okay.
And then it was 5 years later that the rest of the story took place.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's 7 years from now.
Yeah. I mean, but you never know. You never know what they're working on in Area 51 or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We're that's a bit above our pay grade. Yeah. So we won't know. But yeah, and then there's some stuff they were able to shoot their escape pods out from another dimension, and then the helicopters carrying these bazillion-ton machines. But I don't really care about that kind of stuff because it's the helicopters could never carry them. It's there's also not big ass sea monsters in the middle of the ocean either. So I'll forget that.
Because you got mad at me because I said there's no way that he let go of her pod and she popped up, and then he let go of his pod way further down inside dimension. There's no way with that huge ocean with the currents that they will pop up within 10 feet of each other.
And so close in time too.
Yeah, there's no way. But hey, it's a movie. There's monsters too. I mean, just take it or leave it.
Yeah, but something if this was more of a realistic movie, then yeah, totally. But as it is now, I will. Those are all little quips. Not anything that I think really deter from the movie at all.
Now, was he without oxygen the whole time that he had gone through down there and was setting off the bomb?
I think his oxygen was low. I don't think he had no oxygen because he was talking and stuff too a little bit. And
right.
So yeah, there's no way he'd be able
you
to
can keep breathing, but eventually you get the carbon monoxide or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Poisoning.
Exactly.
So that's why I was like, you sure he doesn't have brain damage after because it would take a while to float all the way up to the top.
Yeah.
Of the ocean without oxygen. But yeah, if it was low, then okay, maybe.
I think it was just low. Yeah.
Okay. Then that's okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be like,
I don't buy that. What did you think about Raleigh and Mako not having a romantic relationship? Like, you could tell, like, she was attracted to him and he probably was to her, but they didn't, do the big kiss at the end or anything like that. Did you mind that, or did you want them to be a couple? Or
no, they kissed on the raft at the end.
No, they were just hugging, and then they leaned in and touched their heads.
Oh, maybe that's what I got confused with. I thought they did. I still, I felt that they're definitely going to be a couple.
Yeah.
But
totally gonna hook up later.
I mean, I think if they had hooked up and they'd shown all that I would have been like, man, typical guy movie, blah, blah, blah. I gotta show them. So I actually like the fact that they didn't focus on that. Me too.
I thought that was a little fresh. It's like, it wasn't really needed. You knew that they were forming a strong bond.
Yeah, they had that chemistry, but you don't need to show like a sex scene in order to like show their bond.
Or have them like do some big, I did it for you, that kind of scene. So, I'm glad they didn't have that in there. I love going to see movies like this on opening night just for the audience reactions. I love going with like a full house. And it happened at the screening I went to too. I love when people clap in movies, or I love it when a scene is so awesome that people clap. And there were quite a few of them in this movie, I thought. Mainly that middle fight scene that starts in the ocean and then moves over into the city and then moves up into the sky. Yeah. Let me back up a little bit here. They're out in the ocean, they're fighting, and then the one kaiju like jumps out of nowhere. Like, you didn't even see it. It jumps on his back and stuff. That was
scared
awesome.
Me.
Yeah. You weren't expecting that at all. So that looked really, really cool, I thought. I remember watching that whole scene. My mouth was just like hanging open, and eyes were like gigantic. And then, like you were saying earlier, where they're fighting in the city, and then the one grabs it and digs its claws into his back, and then, oh my God, it's got wings. Yeah. And it starts flying up into the air.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, where did that come from? And then they're like, ooh, activate the sword. I'm like, a sword?
Oh my God, this is the most awesome movie ever.
Yeah, I was really, fangirling out over this movie. Yeah. There's a sword fight in the middle of outer space. Yeah, it was, oh man. That's another, I'll just go into my general opinion of the movie then. This movie, I love this movie, because it made me feel how I felt when I saw Jurassic Park back in 1993. I was 9 years old, and I saw that movie, and I was just like so in awe of it. I thought it was so awesome. It was scary, and it was funny, and there was action, and oh my God, I love that movie. I felt the same way when I saw this movie. And it's just like a really big, epic summer fun movie, and it's, the whole movie really was generally like positive. There weren't really winking things to the audience or anything like that. And it was, that's what I love about the movie, how it made me feel. Like, I was like, oh, like a kid watching this movie. That's how it made me feel. So that's what I really, really like about it. Like, I totally would have bought the toys if I was, 9 and I saw this movie. I'd be going to Toys R Us and picking up all the toys for sure.
What was this movie rated?
PG-13.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because what's nice about it is that kids can watch it, and I think okay, they'd be scared, but it's okay for kids and adults to see.
Yeah, I don't think it pushed the limits with PG-13 or anything like that. Not with gore.
Versus World War Z, disappointed because they're gearing towards kids. This one, it makes sense, and it works for the movie.
Yeah, it's that kind of movie. And I think that's exactly. So it's not geared specifically towards kids, but kids can embrace it. Like, it's just like everybody, it's just good for everybody. Everybody likes it. Yeah, oh my God, I can't say enough. I really loved it. There was some little things that I didn't really like, but the stuff that I loved greatly outweighs the very minor things that I didn't like. So yeah, man, go see this movie in the movie theater.
Yes.
Don't wait. Like, it's one I'd say you have to go see it in the movie theater just for the scale. I love how giant everything was in the movie, and when they're at the Shatter Dome and they're walking around, you see all these gigantic Jaegers and stuff. Oh God, I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Rob see it with me, and I really want to splurge and do the IMAX again.
Yeah. Just do regular IMAX. You don't need to do the 3D.
Do they have an regular too?
Okay, just not as many showings.
I don't need the 3D. I don't have to have it. Just like the IMAX experience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so this was one of my really, one of the movies I was really looking forward to for this summer. and it really delivered. So I'm really happy about that. I mean, like, I knew I was going to like it no matter what, but I ended up loving it. So that was really, really good.
Is there anything else coming out this summer? Like, in terms of big blockbusters?
I want to see The Conjuring. That's a horror movie coming out next week, but that's nothing really super big for me. Like, The Wolverine is coming out at the end of July. But I got to be honest, that movie, I'll see it, but I'm not like super hyped for it. I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's unnecessary. Like, I've seen Wolverines. Can we focus on somebody else? Or, whatever. I'll wait it out till the next X-Men movie.
It's Hugh Jackman.
And it's not that I don't. Yeah, I mean, Hugh Jackman is awesome as Wolverine. Like, he's fantastic and stuff. And the movie looks cool, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like tired of Wolverine. It does seem
a little unnecessary, but it still may be a good movie. I just think that it's probably a little unnecessary, but I'm still like looking forward to seeing it anyway, just for Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. It's I mean, that's pretty much how I am about it. And then comes August, but Elysium, the one with Matt Damon.
Oh, that's right.
Now, you know what's funny is we were talking about this, I was talking about it with Willis and Shamara when we did the Man of Steel podcast. And Willis was really excited to see it. And I was like, it looks okay, whatever. I don't really care about it. But this newest trailer that we saw in the beginning or before Pacific Rim, that one made me a lot more interested in the movie. So I'm actually kind of excited for that one now. And that comes out, I think, August 9th or 7th or something. August 9th, actually. Okay. So that one I'm excited to see.
Well, speaking of Matt Damon, that's another thing I got harangued about from my older sister because I haven't seen any of the Bourne movies.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
My God, what's the matter with you? Like, I guess I go for the romantic comedies and the sci-fi. I don't know.
I would say the Bourne movies are good. You should probably watch them. And there's 4 altogether, I think. Yeah, and those are the movies where it's... Because before those came out, Matt Damon was just kind of like a dramatic actor and stuff. And then you see him in these movies as Jason Bourne, and you're like, oh, Matt Damon can actually kick ass. This is pretty awesome. So, yeah, I would recommend those 2. I'm going to agree with your sister on that one. But besides that, no, the next movie that I'm going no matter what is Insidious 2, but that doesn't come out till September. And then after that is Thor and Catching Fire, and those aren't till November. So
I'm just gonna be jumping up and down with giddiness. It's like as soon as Loki comes on screen, like there he is.
Yeah. It's gonna be one of those where we're gonna have to like strain to hear everything he says because everybody's gonna be like clapping and laughing and stuff. So probably have to see it twice, I'd say.
Yeah, or more than that.
Yeah. I don't think I have to twist your arm for that one. But yeah, I think it covered pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about with Pacific Rim. I can't say enough good things about it. And it was funny because I saw it on Monday, so I was like, oh my God, I got to talk about this movie. But it's like, I don't want to be rubbing it in everybody's face that I got to see it. And nobody wants to talk about a movie that they haven't seen, not in detail. So I was happy everybody wanted to go on Thursday. So I'm like, finally. Because I could stand just walking around and not being able to talk about it.
I have this knowledge and I can't share it with anybody.
I'm going to burst. I got to talk about it. But yeah, in all seriousness, go see the movie.
Yes, please do. The Damsels in Debate podcast recommends Pacific Rim.
Yes, we are giving it our big-ass stamp of approval. So, if you want to go into what we watched from our queue, what was your movie this week?
Well, since I wasn't here for last week's podcast, I actually have 2. I have my Love Actually, and then this week I watched Gladiator. Yay. Which I didn't mention, but yeah, that was on my list because like everyone's like, can't believe you haven't seen it. And I was like, because, I don't know, I was just worried I wouldn't like it.
Right.
Like Braveheart or something,
Yeah, I've never seen Braveheart.
So, oh my God.
Yeah, I saw the end though. So.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You still need to see it.
Yeah.
You still need to see it. That really is a good movie.
Yeah.
The acting and the action, it's really good. It's sad, but it's really good.
Yeah. All right. So what did you think?
I'll start with Gladiator. I definitely loved it. I thought, like I was saying, I would be mad and be mad at the movie throughout time because sometimes with movies, if something happens to the main character right at the beginning and it's unfair, I get mad. I'm like, no, I just want to turn this movie off.
The injustice of it all.
Yeah, the injustice, exactly. But I kind of knew that he would get his revenge because his character was so strong. Like, oh, there's no way he's just gonna be like, oh, well, this is it then. I'm just gonna die too. So I knew he was gonna come back. So I was excited to see what he would do to get back at Joaquin Phoenix's character, the prince or whatever. Speaking of Joaquin Phoenix, I loved his character even more than like Russell Crowe's character. Actually, I just loved his acting and everything. He just played that character so well.
Yeah, I thought he was the standout in that movie. He did really good.
And I wish he won. He got nominated for supporting actor, but he didn't win. And then Russell Crowe won
for best actor.
Best actor.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if he won or not. Yeah, I agree. I think he was very deserving. Did a great performance in that movie.
I definitely love the "Are you not entertained" scene.
Oh yeah,
and I was looking forward to seeing it because on one of my other podcasts I listen to, whenever they go to break, they play that thing. Are you not entertained?
Oh
this is why you were here. It says we'll be right back. So it's I was waiting for that scene, and I definitely got chills because everyone was all quiet, and then they're like Spaniard.
Right, yeah.
So, definitely was cheering throughout it. It was a little predictable in some parts. I knew what was going to happen. Like when at the very end, when the Joaquin Phoenix's character, I can't remember his name, he stabs him in the back so that he'd be weakened a little
Commodus.
bit.
Was it Commodus? Yeah.
Stabbed him. So I was like, oh man, they're going to fight, and he'll end up winning, but he'll end up dying too in the process. I knew that was going to happen, and I knew he was going to be with his family and everything. But it didn't bother me. It was like, and I like how they left the guy's body and then they carried it.
Yeah, oh, whatever, you can just sit here.
I didn't want to mention because I went on, I think it was IMDb, and I was reading about it just to make sure I had everything ready for my notes. And there was talks about a sequel, but it would be more about Lucius, the son of the
Connie Nielsen's character. Yeah.
15 years later, growing up and discovering that Marcus is his true dad. Possibly.
Wait, who's his true dad?
The main Russell Crowe, possibly is his true dad or something.
Maximus. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, who the hell is Marcus?
Yeah,
that's fine. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was
trying
to get it right. I'll just stick with the actors' names.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
But when they were talking about it, Russell Crowe wanted to keep Maximus's character alive, so he was looking up references to maybe afterlife, what they believed in the afterlife.
Oh, okay.
With the Roman beliefs with that. Which, speaking of, because we were just talking about Elysium, I thought it was interesting how at the beginning of Gladiator he says, if you're riding through a fields and there's no one around, it's fine because you're dead and you are in Elysium. That's actually the idea of their heaven, which I thought was funny because in Elysium it's a heavenly world because it's up in heaven or whatever.
And also in the movie Wanderlust, have you ever seen that? The what do you call that? Free society, no rules, whatever place that they go to live. It's a comedy.
Okay.
It's called Elysium. So
anyway, that was interesting. So I don't know about a whole sequel and everything, but I definitely love this movie. So
yeah.
I'm surprised that I hadn't seen it in a while. And actually, my younger sister Raina, she hasn't seen it either. I said, I don't know how both of us never saw this, but you need to see it now because it's a good movie.
Yeah, it was very entertaining.
And you need to see Braveheart.
Yeah. I remember hearing that the guy who plays Proximo, that guy who trained him, the one with the white hair, and he's tan. He ran the Gladiators. And then, you know what I'm talking about?
He turned good at the end.
Yeah, I cannot remember his real name, but he passed away actually while they were filming part of the movie, so they had to do some trick editing and stuff like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of like with The Crow, they had to do the editing.
Exactly. Oh, now we're all grim.
So good movie. But
good.
to turn the tables, I saw Love Actually because we were going to do a romantic comedy movie of the week, and Love Actually, it was a little disappointing. I did like Colin Firth and then Alan Rickman, but it just, maybe I need to see it again. But with so many stories, it was a little hard to follow at some parts. And it was kind of hard to get emotionally divested into all the characters because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
But I definitely like how you always reference, can we be quite quick?
Yeah, I quote that movie a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said, because when I first saw the movie, I like big ensemble movies like that, and I saw it and I was like, oh, these stories it takes a long time to get back to another, to the same story in the movie. And I was just kind of whatever about it. I didn't really care. And then I watched it again. And then I saw like part of it again. And then I like it more and more now. But I definitely was just whatever about it the first time I saw it. So I think you'll probably be the same way.
Yeah. But it was still a cute movie. It had some funny parts. It had some really sweet, sappy parts. So it was entertaining. You know, I wasn't like bored with it. So
yeah. I felt really bad for Emma Thompson, though, when she opened up her present.
Oh, yeah.
And she got the CD and then she went in her room and cried.
Yeah,
I felt
that was
really
that's
bad.
the one part I got choked up at.
Yeah.
You know, and then she had to kind of be strong for her kids and everything. It's like, oh, it's sad.
Yeah. She's a good actress.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cute movie. I always watch it around Christmas time. And, but yeah, first time I saw it, I was like, this is stupid, whatever. Well, I finally saw Somewhere in Time, the movie, the Christopher Reeve movie you told me to see. It was a lot sadder than I thought it was going to be. And I don't know why. Like, I was watching the movie. I was checking my email at the same time. But, I mean, I was watching the movie. Well, I had a lot of emails I had to go through. But I felt like the movie was really quick. And then I looked at the running time to make sure. I'm like, well, maybe it was just a shorter movie. And it wasn't. It was an hour and 44 minutes. That's a decent length movie, especially for, you know, a non-action movie. Yeah. But I don't know. It felt really like everything happened so quickly for me. And I don't know if it was just I was too into it or I don't know what was going on. But I felt like, because, you know, when he sees the with the penny and then he goes back to present day and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, well, the last third here is going to be him trying to get back to her. And then, you know, he like doesn't at the end.
Yeah, that was pretty abrupt at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he like died of a broken heart or whatever. Yeah. And well, I mean, in a way it's good because then, you know, in the afterlife or whatever they're together. So that's good. You know, they did get their happy ending, I guess. But yeah, that was like my main thing. I was like, oh, this is kind of sort of a sad ending. Oh, yeah. And it's quicker. It seemed quick to me. I don't know what it was. I can't pinpoint why. I guess because I was just thinking, oh, well, he's going to try really hard to get back to her. He's going to, you know, do a bunch of stuff and do research and all this kind of stuff.
How sad was that? Was when he was all sweaty and like, you know, exhausted, and he's like trying to like get into the hypnotism again, and he like, please, God. And he like leans over and starts crying.
Yeah,
and, like drops the penny on the floor. I'm like, oh God.
You know, it's kind of funny, and I was talking to my mom yesterday, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but I've never seen Christopher Reeve in anything, actually. You know, I know who he is, and I've seen bits and like clips of the Superman movies. Never actually seen any of them. This is the first time I've actually seen him in a movie. But every time I see him, there's like a cloud of sadness sitting over him for me, just because of everything that's like it's the same thing when I watch anything with Brandon Lee Brandon Lee. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. I'm just like, oh, like I just get like sad anytime I see them.
Don't ride any horses.
Don't get on the horse. Yeah, I don't know. So that's my problem. It's not him as an actor or anything. That's just me being too sappy, I guess. So yeah, when he was upset in the movie, I'm like, oh, it's okay. Don't cry. Yeah, it was a pretty good movie.
Was it believable about the whole time travel, like that idea of with your brain and everything?
No, but I don't really think time travel is all that believable in movies. It's like, it's one of those things, okay, fine, you know, we'll just go with it. I'm not going to really like question it too much, because once you do that, then it starts going off into craziness. But for this movie, it was fine. I didn't have any problems with it. And it was a different way to do time travel. Usually it's somebody getting in a machine or, you know, taking a pill or something like that. And this was different.
I found that could be believable just because they say, like, we only use just a small part of our brain. So that's why I was like, oh, and if we could use the rest of our brain, then, like, maybe it could be possible that you could, you know, hypnotize yourself out of this reality into the past reality.
Right. Yeah, so that was fine. I had no problems with that. You know, it was funny in the very beginning of the movie when he's, you know, at the party or whatever, and, well, it's, you know, it's Jane Seymour's character, but the old lady comes and talks to him. The way they were filming it and like her just like coming in there looking all old and stuff, it reminded me a little bit of the old lady in Drag Me to Hell. I'm like, oh God, this could go scary, but I knew it wasn't a scary movie, you know, so it was fine. But it's just one little thing I thought of while I was watching it.
That.
Well, yeah, that's where my brain goes. But yeah, overall, it was pretty good. I liked it. Man, Jane Seymour is a gorgeous woman, isn't she? She is so beautiful. I mean, because I've never seen her. I only started hearing about her when she was in a Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. So I've only seen her. Yeah, and in Wedding Crashers. I've only seen her as a little bit older. I have no idea how old she is. And I think she's beautiful. And I saw her here, and she's younger. And I'm like, oh man, she's always just been gorgeous. Yeah. She's a good actress too. I mean, not to sound all vain or anything.
I love her voice too.
Yeah, she's got a great voice. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good movie. I liked it.
What'd you think about the music?
I was like, Vanessa's gonna ask me about the music. It was good. It fit with the movie perfectly, and it was, it's like tinged with sadness too. So I don't know anything about music, composing music or anything like that, but just the way it was made, it fit the movie's like mood basically. It's like, oh, it's happy, but it's kind of sad too.
Well, the love theme was done by John Barry. It's like one of my favorite composers. He also did the music for Dances with Wolves, which you also need to see. Now I think good with sad music.
Oh, okay, because I think I have not seen Dances with Wolves, but I think I know that music. I think I've heard it before.
Just violins and everything. It's I love the love theme, and then they have I think it's called Rhapsody by Paganini, I think, but that is like da 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 da. Like they play that a couple different times. Like when he first sees her portrait, that's when they're playing the music.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, I love the music, so I had that soundtrack.
Oh, so do you have it on your head?
Yeah. I know. I grew up. See, I saw that movie before I knew who Christopher Reeve was, so I didn't have that in the back of my mind. I had, he's now paralyzed, so I just loved the movie growing up, and it's just I cry every time at the end, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a different perspective too, and then now seeing it because I'm also older too, so. But no, it was pretty good.
I just think it's just a great sappy love movie. It's just like, no,
yeah,
I just love it. I just love the movie.
It reminded me a little bit of Notebook in that way, where it's a happy ending, but it's kind of sad too.
Yeah, so. If they die together, then they're together. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
kind of like Romeo and Juliet or something.
Oh, Romeo and Juliet. Oh, boy.
Well, I'm glad that you liked it. I know you didn't love it, but that's not your type of movie that you love.
But but I can still appreciate it. And I liked it. It was all right. Okay, so wait. So to get set for next week, you're watching Hellboy.
I'll watch Hellboy.
And then, so am I supposed to watch Dances with Wolves?
Either that or Braveheart, your choice.
Do you own either of those?
I own both.
All right, well, you have to pick then. Which one do you want me to watch?
I want you to watch Braveheart.
Damn it. Okay.
What, you want to watch it? Well, then
no. I don't know. I'm not really.
I feel you would have said damn it to either one I chose.
They're both really long, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But Braveheart has more action than Dance with Wolves. Dance with Wolves has a lot more slower scenes with him narrating and stuff, but it's good.
Well, there's a love story in there too.
Yeah, there is. I mean, Braveheart there is too. But
okay.
No, I know you'll like Braveheart. You got to see it.
Alrighty. Yeah, like I said, I've seen the end, but I mean, even still, I haven't seen the rest
building
of the movie.
Up to the end though to see why it's so because I cried that movie too.
Oh yeah, I remember I was getting ready for school one day and it was early in the morning and I came in the kitchen. My dad was eating breakfast and watching that, and I said, "Oh, is this the end?"
He said, watched that while eating breakfast?
I think it was on Showtime or something. And he's like me. It's like, oh, there's a good scene coming up. Let me watch this. So that's probably what happened.
Strong stomach. That's all I can say.
Oh, God. All right. Anyway. Well, one other thing. I did watch The 5-Year Engagement with Jason Segel and Emily Blunt. And there were some parts that I actually laughed out loud. I did laugh at the movie. And it was, cute. It's a romantic comedy. It was too long, though.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Well, it's called 5-Year Engagement. It's a long
Yeah, but a romantic comedy, come on, you can't be that long. It lagged a lot. But if you like those actors, Chris Pratt's also in it. It's a cute movie, but it's 2.5 hours, so almost 2.5 hours. So it's kind of long, but I did laugh out loud a couple parts. So that was I think that was the only other movie that I saw this week. So now out of movies. So yeah, let's get into True Blood. What did you think of this episode?
I do not like the fairy guy being Warlow. Just like Maria said in the last podcast, like, you should be someone epic like Jeff Goldblum or something.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about all this stuff in the last podcast, and then it's like, oh, hey, no, I'm Warlow.
Yeah. But I am interested to see what Sookie does, because she's like, you can get off me now, Warlow. And
yeah,
like, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun.
I like Sookie again.
Yeah.
For a while, I was just like, oh my God, I don't care about Sookie. But she's getting spunky again.
Yeah,
I like her.
Like, you know what? I'm sick of all this.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. I'm wondering what's going to happen on tomorrow's episode. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to watch that.
I hated how they did that classic thing where Eric turned the daughter into a vampire, and her dad's just about to change his mind, and then she smells the blood and like goes to attack him. Like, of course. That
yeah,
happens,
you knew that was going to happen.
So and it reinforces his opinions about vampires.
Exactly. Yep.
But whatever. I mean, it wouldn't be good for the show for him to just change his mind halfway through it, because then like the whole plot is done. But still, I was like, no, of course.
Yep. Yeah, you knew that was coming.
How many times are Pam and Tara going to get hurt in place of each other? Basically, because Tara got hurt at the beginning because she was defending Pam, and now like Tara, they got in a fight, and then Pam got shot, and Tara's like, oh no.
Yeah.
So, like,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm like not into that storyline really, or their section of the storyline right now at all. So I'm waiting to get more into that one. What about Andy's fairy daughters?
That was, again, he's just the comic relief of the daughters. Let's go get some beer, and everything. I do actually like Bill and Jessica's storyline now. Like Jessica is kind of turning bad too, and like they're trying to help vampires in that they're like synthesizing the fairy blood or something like that, so they can just walk just like humans in the daytime. But I did like that twist, how Jessica like freaked out and like drained all of them at the end, and she's like, oh God, because Jessica's usually always like the good one, and then she made a mistake.
And you can't really fix that mistake. Although, are they for sure dead? I mean, they look, they were on the ground not moving, but I feel like they might not be dead, or maybe not all of them.
Every time they got drained before, I mean, granted, these were much older fairies, but they would disintegrate,
Right,
whereas these ones, they didn't. So it's
but then they're also younger and half.
Right.
So we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll find out.
But, oh, man, when Andy gets to that house, that's going to be kind of...
Oh, yeah, that's right. They ended on that saying, like, Bill Compton. Like,
yeah.
He knew, because I love how they said, like, oh, yeah, they're like, what did they say? They're like...
Catnip
to vampires, and he's like, oh, and you saw that light bulb go off, and you're like, oh man, Andy's pissed
poor
off.
Andy.
He loves his girls.
He's trying. He's really trying.
I definitely, you and I were laughing because I so called the Sam and the one chick hooking up with each other's grief. I'm like, how convenient that her boyfriend was killed, and how convenient they're in this hotel room together, and they're both like sad about each other's loss. Like,
drinking alcohol.
Like, oh yeah, and they're drinking. Like, they're so hooking up.
Yeah, that's
totally called that.
Yeah, we knew that was coming. So we'll see how long that girl lasts. Like, I like Sam, but I don't care about Alcide or his new girlfriend or that rough-looking woman. Like, I don't care about any of them.
Something needs to change. Like, he needs to go back to the old Alcide, because I liked him as the nice Alcide.
I mean, I liked him a lot more, but I also never really care about him because his storylines are always kind of boring. Yeah. So maybe they're fixing to get rid of all the werewolves. Because none of them are likable.
Maybe they'll all come out, like in the book, they all come out, and like shifters come out and werewolves come out, and everyone freaks out. Like, maybe that's how the season will end, with that they all come out with vampires, so they can't persecute everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah,
we'll see. But definitely, I like this episode. It's definitely a lot better. I like how they ended with Sookie totally like fooling him, thinking that she wanted him. She's like, you can get off me now.
yeah, I agree. I'm actually, it's not like must see TV for me, but I'm kind of interested in it again. So, or I'm interested to see where they go. It could go either way. It's still on like that, that fine line, but it's definitely I'm way more into it than I was last season.
I don't like, though, that they got rid of the grandfather, the fairy grandfather.
Yeah, I wonder when he's going to come back.
I hope he can get out of there, whatever, that hell or something that he threw him in.
like another dimension or something? Yeah. So, hopefully he'll come back. Yeah. And then I'm interested to see, like, I want to hear Warlow's story from him, from Warlow himself, because it's kind of like... well, wait, why did he do this? And now this whole thing with him being a fairy, but also being a vampire. I just want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I mean, when he was talking to Niall, Niall saying, like, aren't we kin? You know, he's trying to, like, plead with him, like, aren't we kin? He's like, my family lived with yours for generations, blah, blah, blah.
Right,
but
yeah.
he said, like, you spared me. He's like, and I'm sparing you again. Like, I need to, like, see that part again. I was like, wait, what? So they referenced it a little bit, their background.
There's hints at it, but yeah, I definitely want to see what the background is there.
I mean, when they showed a hint of the next episode, like he's still alive and he's talking to Sookie and she's still holding that little ball of whatever. So obviously she lets him get off her. So maybe he tells her his story then.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, it's getting better. So I'm happy about that because I used to love that show.
Yeah.
So and I was very disappointed in it. So
yeah, we very disappointed.
Yes, exactly. So I'm glad to see that it's doing better. All right, well, that's pretty much everything, right, for this week. We went a few minutes longer, but, I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I had to talk about Pacific Rim. I had to get that off my chest. So
go see it. You will see this movie.
Yes, you will like this movie. Do not see Grown Ups 2. I'm sorry. That movie looked god-awful.
Well, that's just mean.
Oh, no, really. Oh, but anyway, so, yes, for next week, you've got Hellboy, and I have Braveheart. I almost said dances. Braveheart. And and then there's no big movie. I do want to see The Conjuring, so hopefully I'll check that out.
I want to see Despicable Me too.
Oh, well, you should go see that. Then we can both talk about these movies. All right. Well, until next week, you can email us at damselsinDebate@gmail.com or find us on Twitter or Facebook. Just search for Damsels in Debate. And we're also on iTunes. You can subscribe and give us a rating or write us a review. You know, that'd be pretty cool. And also, we have our own website, damselsindebate.com. And there you can also just stream our podcast. We'd also like to do another quick shout out thank you to TX Rock Chalk Rachel. On Twitter, she recommended a app that you can get on your phone that will let you know if there's something after the credits in a movie.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, that's very useful. Like fools. Yeah, it's like, oh, I sat here for 5 minutes, I didn't see anything. So yes, thank you very much. That was I will definitely put that to good use.
Oh yeah, so we'll let people know that after the initial credits, Pacific Rim, there's something, but there's nothing after the longer credits. The scrolling credits.
Yeah, there's just a dedication to two effects guys that recently passed away, and then you hear one of the kaijus roar, but that's it. I mean, there's nothing to actually see.
Yeah.
So you don't need to stay for that. And I didn't watch all the way to the end of the credits on Somewhere in Time. All right, but yes, thank you very much. And until next week, everybody have a really great week.
All right, see you next week.